The lights inside the America's Got Talent theater glow with their familiar intensity, sweeping slowly across rows of eager faces. The audience buzzes with quiet excitement, the kind that lives in the air just before something unknown happens. Cameras glide smoothly, judges adjust in their chairs, and the massive stage, so often a place of dreams being born or broken, waits patiently. Then a figure steps out from the shadows. He is not flashy. He does not run or wave. He walks carefully, almost respectfully, as if afraid the stage might disappear beneath his feet. He is a young Filipino man in his early 20s, wearing a simple button-down shirt and worn shoes that have clearly walked long roads. His shoulders are slightly hunched, not from weakness, but from years of carrying responsibility too heavy for a child. The audience offers polite applause, nothing more. To them, he looks like many others who have stood there before, hopeful, nervous, ordinary. Simon Cowell glances down at his card and then back up at the contestant. There's a flicker of recognition, but it's vague, distant, like a memory half buried under thousands of auditions. He squints slightly, unsure. "What's your name?" Simon asks. The young man swallows, gripping the microphone with both hands. "My name is Daniel," he says softly. His accent is gentle, musical, unmistakably Filipino. "And where are you from, Daniel?" asks Howie, leaning forward with interest. "I'm from a small town in the Philippines," Daniel replies. "My father, he is a carpenter." At the mention of his father, his voice trembles just enough to be noticed. The audience quiets. Simon tilts his head. "Have you auditioned for this show before?" Daniel nods. "Yes, sir. Many years ago. I was just a boy." Now Simon remembers. A thin kid. Nervous. A decent voice, but raw. Not ready. Not memorable enough to go through. "I remember," Simon says honestly. "It didn't go very far last time." Daniel smiles, but there is no bitterness in it, only acceptance. "Yes, sir. I went home that day and continued working with my father." The camera cuts to the audience. People lean in. This is no longer just another audition. "What kind of work?" Sophia asks gently. Daniel takes a breath. "My father builds furniture. Doors. Tables. Anything people need. When I was young, I carried wood, cleaned tools, learned to measure and cut. Sometimes, we worked all night." He pauses, choosing his words carefully. "There were days we didn't have enough food," he continues. "But my father always told me, we are rich because we are together." A quiet murmur ripples through the crowd. Simon leans back, arms crossed, studying him. He has heard many stories, some true, some exaggerated. He is cautious. "So why come back now?" Simon asks. "What's different this time?" Daniel looks out at the judges, then at the sea of people beyond the lights. His eyes shine, not with confidence, but with something deeper. "My father is getting older," he says. His hands shake now when he holds the hammer. He still works, even when his back hurts. He says dreams are not for people like us, but I don't believe that anymore. The audience grows silent. "I came back," Daniel continues, voice gaining strength, "because I want him to see that his sacrifice was not wasted. That the boy who carried wood, learned how to carry a song." Simon's expression doesn't change, but something behind his eyes softens. There is a long pause. "Well," Simon says at last, "that's a lot to live up to." Daniel nods. "I know, sir." The judges exchange glances. This doesn't feel like a gimmick. There are no dramatic gestures, no forced tears. Just a young man standing on the world's biggest stage, asking to be heard. "What will you be singing today?" Heidi asks. Daniel lowers his gaze for a moment. "A song about hope," he answers. "And about coming home." Simon raises an eyebrow. "Is it a famous song?" "Yes," Daniel replies. "But, I sing it for my father." The lights dim slightly as stagehands prepare. Daniel steps back, centering himself. He closes his eyes briefly, and in that moment, the stage seems to dissolve. He is no longer in America. He is back in a cramped wooden house, the smell of sawdust in the air. His father's hands, rough, cracked, loving, guiding his own smaller ones. Nights without electricity. Meals shared quietly. Songs sung softly so neighbors wouldn't hear, because dreaming too loudly felt dangerous. The crowd waits. Simon glances down again, then back up. He still expects a decent performance at best. A nice moment. Nothing life-changing. "All right, Daniel," Simon says. Whenever you're ready. Daniel opens his eyes. He nods once. The music is about to begin, but no one in the room yet knows that this is not just a return audition. It is the beginning of something that will leave even Simon Cowell unprepared. A single, gentle piano chord drifts through the theater, soft enough that some in the audience lean forward without realizing it. Daniel stands perfectly still at center stage, eyes closed, head slightly bowed. For a heartbeat, it seems as though he might stop before he starts, like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure whether his wings will open. Then he sings. His voice enters quietly, almost fragile, but pure. Not the polished strength of someone trained in studios, but the honest tone of a boy who learned to sing in a wooden house with thin walls and no audience except the night. The sound travels slowly, filling the space between the seats, the judge's desk, the ceiling lights. It doesn't demand attention, it earns it. The audience settles into complete silence. The lyrics speak of long roads and tired hands, of dreams folded away like old letters, of promises made in whispers so they wouldn't break under daylight. Daniel doesn't perform the song, he relives it. Every word feels weighted with memory. His hands tremble slightly, but his voice does not. Simon watches closely, chin resting on his hand. At first, his expression is neutral, professional, guarded. He has heard thousands of voices, thousands of emotional stories. He knows how easy it is to confuse struggle with greatness. But something is different. Daniel reaches the end of the first verse, and instead of pushing his voice higher, he pulls it back, softening it, as if afraid to disturb the memories he's holding. The piano follows him, obedient, restrained. It feels intimate, like the song is being sung to one person, not a theater full of thousands. Heidi's eyes flick towards Simon, then back to the stage. She swallows, already feeling the tightness in her chest. The second verse begins, and Daniel's voice grows warmer, stronger, not louder, but deeper. It carries the sound of time passing. Of a child becoming a man too early. Of learning how to smile while hungry, how to hope while tired. A woman in the audience presses her hand to her mouth. A man beside her nods slowly, eyes fixed on the stage. Daniel opens his eyes for the first time and looks straight ahead, past the judges, past the lights, as if he's singing across oceans. His gaze is steady now. Certain. The lyrics shift, from struggle to endurance. From survival to belief. His voice lifts, just enough to catch everyone by surprise. The note is clean, controlled, aching. It rings through the theater and seems to hang there, suspended. Simon straightens in his chair. His eyes narrow, not in doubt now, but in concentration. He leans forward. The camera zooms in on Simon's face just as the emotion sneaks past his defenses. Daniel sings about a father's hands, hands that built houses for others but never rested on their own dreams. Hands that bled so their children wouldn't have to. The words land hard, and Simon's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. He blinks once. Then again. The chorus arrives, and this time Daniel lets go. His voice swells, not with power alone, but with release. Years of silence pour into the sound. It fills every corner of the theater, rising above the piano, wrapping around the audience like a confession they didn't know they needed to hear. He doesn't shout. He doesn't oversing. He simply tells the truth. Heidi's eyes glisten. Sophia lowers her head, listening with both hands clasped. Howie exhales slowly, as if the air has been knocked out of him. And Simon looks down. It's a small movement, barely noticeable, but it matters. He presses his lips together, his fingers tightening slightly on the desk. The song has found him. Not as a judge, not as a critic, as a son. Daniel reaches the bridge of the song, where the music drops back again, almost to nothing. His voice breaks, not from lack of control, but from emotion, and he allows it. He doesn't hide it. The crack becomes part of the song, part of the story. For a moment, it sounds like he might cry. The audience holds its breath. Then Daniel steadies himself and sings the line that changes everything, one simple sentence about coming home not as a failure, but as proof that love survives hardship. Simon's eyes fill. He turns his face slightly away from the cameras, but it's too late. A tear escapes, sliding down his cheek. He wipes it quickly, annoyed at himself, but unable to stop the second one that follows. The theater feels frozen in time. Daniel lifts into the final chorus, his strongest moment yet. His voice soars now, not in volume, but in conviction. It is the sound of a boy who once doubted his worth finally believing it. The piano builds beneath him. Lights glow warmer. The song rises toward its end, every note placed with care. And then, with a gentleness that feels deliberate, Daniel pulls back again for the final line. He sings it almost in a whisper, as if speaking directly to his father. The last note fades. Silence. Not the awkward kind, not the waiting kind, the sacred kind. For a full second, no one moves. No one breathes. Then the theater erupts. The audience leaps to its feet, applause crashing like a wave. Cheers echo off the walls. Daniel stands stunned, chest rising and falling rapidly, eyes wide, as if he can't quite believe what just happened. Simon remains seated for a moment longer. He wipes his face once more, takes a breath, and looks back up at the stage. His voice, when he finally speaks, will not sound the same as it did before.